What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Verbal Garbage coming at you hot and live. In today's spicy episode, we're kind of jam packed. And one thing I think is going to take up most of the time is let's just get to it right off the bat. It's a tribute and a memorial to our boy Jerry Springer. Rest in peace. News broke the other day. We'll get the specifics corrected. Jerry had passed away, and to say he molded my childhood would be an understatement, guys. That guy was absolutely influential. Just Googling it now, just trying to see the days he was on. He debuted in September 30th, 1991. So literally a month before I was born. And he came all the way out to July 26, 2018, all the way up to the point where I was what was I doing then? Maybe still slinging some paint, maybe slinging shrimp, maybe slinging drink. Who knows what the fuck I was doing, but Jerry was there throughout my whole life, and he even spawned an influential figure in my life, Steve Wilkos, head security of Jerry, and then morphed off for his own television show that just provided just countless hours of fodder and entertainment for me and some neighborhood friends. My brother, me, the Stouter brothers, we were shout out to them. We were really go in their basement, just get dialed in on the storylines. And for those of you who don't know, like I said, Steve was the head of security, and we'll get back to Jerry, but Steve was the head of security on Jerry's show and just became such a prominent figure that he spun off and had his own show. And yeah, it got graphic. We could just for fun, like just to give you an idea of my life, one of the biggest heartbreaks I've ever suffered was when my YouTube page lost its favorite channel that was all Steve Wilkos videos, and they had gotten deleted. And just you're simply never the same after that, and there was just countless hours of little confrontations where he would yell and scream in people's face and they would bark back, and my brother and I just thought it was just the greatest things of all time. And I'm trying to see now if I can have it anywhere, because I literally had like an 85 video long playlist of just Steve Wilkos going hammy. And just a giant loss, guys. Jerry, gathering around as children watching that show. We weren't allowed to watch The Simpsons or South Park or anything like that. It was all restricted in our house, but we made sure we got our dose of Jerry in. Weekday mornings, I think you had the 9 a.m. and the 11 a.m. showing. You had Maury on, if I'm not mistaken, at 12. You had, man, it was a power lineup back in the day, and Maury was absolutely legendary. But let's just get back to Jerry. After swim prep, we would have grown up. We were in the neighborhood swim team, me, my brother, and my sister. And we would go to practice, and afterwards, our parents would be at work, and we would come home. And these are pre weed days for me, unfortunately. And we would just come home and make waffles and pancakes, and all the neighborhood guys and gals would just gather around, eating waffles, eating pancakes, just watching Jerry, Channing, just when life was simple. Now I'm just going around desperately texting and chasing just these grease monkeys for money all day long, and it's a losing battle for me, guys. I hate to say it, but the house always wins, and in this case, the grease monkeys of the house. So I'm getting robbed for everything I'm thankful for here. I got a herpes outbreak. Everything is it's all right. We're gonna cut back to normal, right? And the Jerry news that absolutely stung me. I mentioned how growing up we would watch it after swim practice. Not only that, but we became so enthralled with the show that we started in the previous episodes I discussed recreating Jackass and doing skits, and Jerry Springer was no different. You're looking at the producer, the host, the plot maker, the writer, the head of music operations. And we would host him in the Stouter's glorious basement, neighborhood friends, and it was just a glorious setup. They had the beautiful, almost like a U couch, more like a 3/4 L or L forming into a U. You get my point. And we would load that with neighborhood friends, and Kurt and I would develop a script, and we would act and get it on camera. And you better believe I'm gonna do my best to unearth that and find the tapes, just to find specifically remember like one episode. My brother was playing uh, a leader of a certain tribe or clan, and they're known to dress in an all a garment all white. And one year my brother was a ring wraith from Lord of the Rings for Halloween. So he dressed up as that. And it was just funny because that clan didn't like the color of the ring wraith's outfit, but that's the color he was using. And the plot line was he was the Grand Wizard, and I think I was someone who was leaving the tribe because I was gay or something like that. And then one of the neighbors came out and they was my fair, and then the fight broke out. And it's just we had great plots. We had audience members that would get fed into the show. We would have audience members that would ask questions. We had Jerry, the host. I mean, just like our just reality TV, man. If you could ever say someone had a calling, I know I've ended up in sales right now, but I think a reality star is simply my destiny, and it's not over yet. We're never gonna give up. We can parlay the podcast into a reality show for all I care. But Jerry Springer show was just notorious for having expletive laden episodes and having to use the beep button all the time, and the beep button was just instrumental in my life. I mean, they had it at one point where you could download it as an app on the iPhone because every time my brother and I would curse, our parents hated curse words, but we would always try to use the beep button, and we just started saying, "Where the bleep are you?" And just it's had quite legs of its own. It's kind of spawned its own language where bleep is turned into sheep and sheep is turned into creep. And I refer to my weed as weed, creep, or sheep, or sheep creek, which is a wine we used to serve at the restaurant, So just just a hard week. Jerry being gone, being on the air for what was it, 9, 18, 28 years. The run the guy had was unparalleled. Like I said, spawned off a little bit darker of a show. Jerry would be more of like, you left my cousin, or you left me for my cousin, and now you have a baby in the same trailer park with my cousin. And Steve Wilkos was like, my granddaddy beat me, my grandmama molested me, like just dark storylines. And for some reason, I was I couldn't get enough. It was just, maybe it's a flaw of mine, but you go through the episodes. Like, I just YouTubed it right now, and it's funny because Steve Wilkos had this crazy, like, I don't know what it coincided with, but his plots used to be so much more dark and crazy, and the guests were just too good to be true. I mean, you almost have to think it was fake, and everyone would always tell me it's scripted, and I would never want to believe it. And I mean, there was just so many I used to have them on my Instagram page, and I probably still do, of just Steve getting in people's faces, pointing and screaming, and the guests yelling back. And I mean, it wasn't a stab, it was a cut. It's just one of the most legendary things where he was trying to confront one guy for leaving his baby on a train or something. Then he also like cut his girlfriend with a knife. And then Steve Wilkos was like, "You stabbed your girl." Like, it wasn't a stab, it was a cut. And then Steve ended up taking the chair and throwing it through the wall because that was his signature move. Jerry's signature move was ever like, just the guests would fight and they would chant his name, or he would do a little like at the end when they would do Q&As with the guests. Jerry would zing a little zap, or he would make a little, during the plot line, people would be explaining their thing and he'd make a little joke and people would just love it. Like, that was Jerry's signature move. And Steve's signature move would be, anytime he had someone who he deemed a scumbag on stage, he would rip the chair from underneath of them and throw it through the wall, and sometimes it would stick in the wall. And the crowd would go nuts. But I think I'm trying to remember the Steve Wilkos. I'm gonna type it in. I left my, because just bear with me here, guys, as I'm just trying to provide you with, no, yeah, but you can see there a guy squatting, so no. But anyways, I mean, I could do a whole hour on Steve Wilkos video breakdowns of showing one and thinking who's in the wrong, or there's just so many layers of that. But talked about swim practice earlier, and I talked about the Stouters earlier. It kind of makes me go parallel into this funny little memory I had where I talked about being on the neighborhood swim team, and let's just be real. I was never really into swimming, but it was fun like to do it because so many of the neighborhood friends did it. You would go there, you'd see everybody in one place at one time, which looking back is just it's a beautiful thing. And although my brother and I we were animals, let's just call it what it is. I actually had I feel like a little bit of potential in the pool. Breaststroke and freestyle, I could get it done. I've done a couple IMs in my lifetime, the individual medleys. We're doing the butter back breast free, part of a couple of legendary relays with some legendary cats, and I was always let's just call it, I was the dead weight holding them back. We had Maddie was just the demon in the water, just aggressive and hungry for that freestyle. Brian was just that breaststroking god who was a tri-county qualifier damn near every year. I mean, Cherry Bowl winner, tri-county qualifier. I'm trying to remember a couple of the other big names, but there was some events, and by God, he was eating that medal and tasting that gold. And Tommy Griffin, I believe, the butterfly specialist, and then we had Frankie Bites just trying to fit in this cruel world. Backstroke, goddamn it! I couldn't do it. I remember, that's the one everyone else gets to dive off the block, and feel it, just whoo. And if I'm not mistaken, that would it start off? I guess it would start off now. Man, this is driving me nuts as the relays we go. Would you start off as we're gonna need one of our swim experts to call into the show? No, you know what? We're getting a live correction here. What were they called, guys? They were swim team relay order, because we talked about shout out to the legendary coach George Willard, Katie Mead. We've had some legendary guys back in the day and some gals, but individual in medley events, back breast butter free back. Yeah, see, I was right. So yeah, I got to have start off on the tee. You have the little handlebars, and you get to kind of pony up on it and get your legs real crunched up and try to get as much of the reverse arch as you could. And it was brutal. You had to do. Now I'm getting everything confused. I think we would do the 200-meter event. You would do a 50 of each. So I would do an up and down stroke or backstroke. I tag Brian in, the God. He would, no matter what, if we were way behind, he would get us ahead or pull us close. And if we were ahead, he would even expand our lead. And then he would get Tommy and tag the wall, do his beautiful dive butter, and Maddie would just. So yeah, I was notorious, my brother and I, for being in lane one with for all the neighborhood friends. Benny Botros, that'll ring a bell. For the non neighborhood friends, he had a certain je ne sais quoi, a certain little issue, and no different than I. He was just a big goofball, just wanted to have fun. And he would be in the lane goofing around, slowing up practice, interrupting, and my brother and I would be in there just holding stride, getting kicked out sometimes. But anyways, some years I would resist swimming, and I remember I would get people who would knock on my door trying to get me to swim, like, we're one guy short in the relay, and I would just be ugh. But then on the other side, my friend and I would go around trying to recruit people who we were friends with in the neighborhood, because the old Wexford Lee is a beautiful neighborhood indeed, but it definitely had its factions. You had certain groups that were in with certain streets, and uh, I don't want to toot my own horn here, but I was kind of dipping my toe in each little pool of, we had the one squad I would play football and wiffle ball and basketball with and tennis with, and then we had the swim team squad. And we just had different groups, and I would try to intermingle and bring certain friends to this group to play football or to play basketball, and just shepherding his flock, bringing certain guys into different equations, trying to play. Oh, you never really played tennis? You want to start playing doubles with us? Oh, you never played football? You want to play? Oh, you never played football? Why don't you come try? It's growing up. We just had the most amazing football games. Oh my God, just a whole nother episode. When I get the Vespi brothers on, or one of the Vespi brothers, will certainly go down that rabbit hole. But you know, we would go around, and I was just saying how I was contradicting myself, because I would go around getting recruited and kind of hate it. But then on the same token, we would try to recruit one of the basketball stars of the neighborhood, Matt Blank, out of respect. And we would go to him, and I remember his legendary quote was, I've done a lot of thinking. I've searched my soul, but no. And so that was a hard no for a potential swimmer. We were trying to groom another whale and get him aboard the block to maybe relieve me of my duties as the backstroker, and the ultimate goal was to bolster the relay by any means necessary. George Willard had a prize to bring home to his family, and I was standing in the way of that. And that's, I think, why the animosity was pointed in my direction sometimes. You're angry at your team. We were constantly floating in that F division. It's a tough topic, but the Whites for Wales were the bottom of the barrel, guys. And sure, we had our stars. We had, like I said, the Lembo siblings. We had the Makaters. We had the Princes, which was our how do I say this? Maybe I shouldn't. And then we had the king of the pool, Zachary Ostroff. And he was the one who would lead us in our chants, and at the end we would do little chants to thank the umpires and the officials. And Zachary made sure that everybody was on point, and we were chanting together. And we had the little postseason meets or the ribbon ceremonies and stuff back. It was a beautiful time to be alive. And I don't remember where I was going with the swim team thing, but just the whole Jerry Springer tying it all together. But it was beautiful. So if you never watched Jerry Springer, just go back and enjoy it. Um, Next, I guess I'll just real quickly recap the NFL draft. The Eagles fucking crushed it. The Georgia Eagles these days, we're getting last year we got two guys. This year I think we drafted three and we traded for one, DeAndre Swift. So the Eagles absolutely murdered the draft season this year with three picks that I think are definitely going to be impact players. You go along, you accompany that with already a Super Bowl contending team, in my opinion, the best roster in the NFL, albeit a biased opinion, but granted, it is what it is. I think they got the best player in the draft. Some teams are just always feel like they have to draft a quarterback because they technically they do need one, but drafting one and having it be a bust can set you back big time. And luckily, we don't have to worry about that. We just signed our stud quarterback to a long deal, and he's worth it. He earned it. Jalen Carter, Kaylee Ringo, and Nolan Smith. And then we traded for DeAndre Swift. So, good time to be an Eagles fan, and amazing draft, and pretty decent time, I would say, to be a Philly fan. We got arguably the best team in the NFL. Our basketball team, if you're a fan like I am, you're used to the heartbreak and the letdown. But from the beginning of this year, it's felt a little bit more promising. I don't know. I'm just trying to be hopeful, I guess, at this point with all the bad draft picks and the bad moves and the process years when you're building for success. And yeah, they've been in competition for contention the last couple of years, but the second round is really where you meet your match. And is that having success? I mean, not really. You're getting past the first round and you're getting eliminated every time, if that. So as you know or may not know, Sixers got past round one, the only team to complete a sweep 4-0 against Brooklyn Nets, Ben Simmons' new home. And now we're on round two going against our hated rivals, the Boston Celtics. Joel Embiid, sprained LCL, potentially a small tear, out for at least game one. Prospects are looking grim. My group text with a couple Philly fans was not looking good. We were pretty pessimistic. I thought in the beginning they had a chance. About halfway through the second quarter, it was looking grim. And guys, Harden had potentially the game of his career. One of the best games. I mean, he might have better stats with triple doubles and such here and there, more assists and such. But with those circumstances, with this position in the playoffs, with that team he's going against, with, like I said, the circumstances of the Sixers missing their best player, them being so reliant on Harden to create some offense, Maxey had a good game overall, but his shooting was definitely not where we needed to be. Tobias and Melton had good game. They everybody played well, but Harden just fucking crushed it. And there is something with this freak where the worse he dresses, the better he plays. And I don't know if you guys saw last night, but he had like an extremely exaggerated like bell bottom Canadian tuxedo outfit on, where it was all denim, Is that the word? Denim all denim and just puffy. They were out there. It looked ridiculous. And once I saw that, I was kind of confident. So it was amazing. Watching that game, being pessimistic as I am, as naturally as all Sixers fans are going to be, and or especially me, I'll admit it. I'm a huge Philly fan. Make no qualms about it. Eagles are number one, Phillies are number two, Sixers are number three. But I mean, I've watched basketball more intently than I've watched basketball or baseball in my life. I don't know what it is, but Sixers just have a way of doing it to us. And I set that whole scene. Harden had the game of his life. Maybe they went to Boston and won the first game on the road. Oh my goodness! So just unbelievable. They're up 1-0 now. They got game two Wednesday night. And then game three, they're coming back to Philly, and guess who's gonna be there? I'm going back home to New Jersey this weekend with my sister Jenny, see my sister Sass, hopefully see Sharif, one of my biggest friends, and just mainly going for the UFC Newark. A couple of days ago, my brother-in-law texted me, "Hey, I got game three tickets. You in?" Sure am. So my Thursday to Sunday trip is consisting of get there Thursday, go to bakeries, go to pizzerias, get Chinese food, just get everything I've ever dreamed of. Chill out, watch the Warriors game, Lakers game that night, eat just crazy kibble, just go nuts. Maybe a bacon, egg. Nope, I'll get in too late. Friday morning, munch, 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 bacon, egg, and cheese, maybe a panzerotti or two. Just really live it up. Cheese steaks. And then Friday afternoon, I got my nephew's lacrosse game. I'm gonna be at rooting his tail on. Hopefully, I'll be really faded off them edibles, them Jersey edibles. And then Friday night, we're going to the Sixers Celtics game three. Saturday, we're going to the UFC Newark with my brother Kurt, my nephew Bobby, and my brother Bob. And then Sunday, we're doing a big Mother's Day, like Phillies game type of deal where it's not Mother's Day yet, but they're doing it the week early, and we're having a bunch of people go to the game with us. Big tailgate, so should be fun. Flying home late that night, and I took the next day off from work, so hopefully I'll go golfing. That's the plan. Go that Monday, go golfing, and you know, just enjoy my time. My first like couple days away from work this year, and I've already got people scheduled payments. Specifically the guys I go see, I got them scheduled set up for next week. Just on the Monday, I won't be there. We're debating on tomorrow, making up my since I'm not working Thursday, bleeding into my Thursday a little bit and going and making a couple extra more stops because it's just more dinero in the pocket. So works great, work's been fun. Work's always got crazy stuff going on. I got a funny little fuck, I don't have it. I don't have my phone on my work phone. I got this hilarious little, you know what? I'm pausing. I'm coming right back for this. This is worth. All right. Well, that didn't quite go as planned. I was looking for my work phone to play this hilarious little audio text, but now I can't find my work phone, so now I gotta worry about that. Great. Um, so other than that, I think it's pretty much it for the week. Shout out to my boy Jason and his girl Ashlyn, expecting a baby this week, any day now. So thinking of you guys, praying to you. I know you don't listen, but I love you. Thank you all for listening to Verbal Garbage, New Jersey, Philadelphia. I'll see you this weekend. We'll catch you guys on another episode next week. We got Franny coming back into the mix. And once I can get some more shit figured out, we'll start getting some people back in person, hopefully, doing some more recordings and some interviews and get back to asking some questions instead of me just blabbing all the time. Although I have enjoyed these little solo episodes. So thanks for listening. Keep following, keep supporting, keep spreading the word. Verbal Garbage, we out.